Welcome back to another episode of the Adventures of FoxFoil. Today, we have some exciting projects that we are going to be working on. But before we get to that, if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave a like. If you want to see more, please subscribe. And with that, let's go ahead and get started with the episode. We are starting off today where we ended the last episode because I just haven't wanted to leave this place yet. There is so much to see, and I've enjoyed looking at how well this project came together. It was so much fun to work on, and I'm really happy with it. If we fly out here, we can take a look at it without the shaders, and even without shaders on, it still looks good. So overall, this was a good project. But we've been out here in the end dimension for a long time, and it's time to return home because there are some new projects that I want to work on. In between episodes, though, there were a few things that I did by heading out to the end islands, and I got a lot of good stuff. I mean, some more shulker boxes, a lot of diamonds and gold and iron, and look at all of this armor that we got. And then the most important thing is all of these elytras. I mean, we've got plenty to spare, and we won't have to worry about running out because I have a tendency to die, and when I die, I lose all my armor. So it's always good to have backups just in case. In this box, we've got some of the different items that have the curse of vanishing or curse of binding, which we probably won't ever use those, but I saved them just in case. But with one final look around, I think we are all set to head home. So we'll walk on over to the portal and jump in, and we end up back in the stronghold, which is a place that we haven't had a chance to talk about, but is one that I am very happy with how this turned out, and we are going to have to revisit it in the future, which is one of the fun things about building these types of places is that anytime we go to the end, this is where we are going to end up. And this is probably my favorite view of the room right here, where you got the dragons on either side, and then this arch over the center here, which just turned out really well. But we need to keep going because there's a lot to do. We're in our main base area, and this is one that I am very excited to see from the air now that we have the elytra. So let's go ahead and take off here and take a look at our starting area. So if we fly up, the first thing that we're going to be able to see is all of our farms here, which are all nicely laid out. We've got our starter house and then the woodcutter's cottage, which I think we built in episode 2. And one that we don't go to very often anymore. And then over here, we have the ruined castle that's sitting along the coastline. And then the village that we rebuilt and redesigned over here back in episode 5, I think it was. But that's our whole starting area. And if we head back over here, we need to go to our storage room because there is a project that I want to do in an area that I don't show very often because it's kind of basic right now, and I want to make it a little bit better. So let's get some things together, and then we'll head out and get this project built. I've got the resources together here in these shulker boxes, so if we take a look through, we've got everything that I think we're going to need, so we should be all set. We won't have to come back here in the middle of the project, hopefully. So let's collect these up and get over to the area. This is where we are going to be doing our first project, which is to build a building around these two nether portals that we have over here. And the reason why these two portals are out in the middle of nowhere is because one links up with our nether hub, and the other goes to the nether roof where our gold farm is. And so that's why they're all the way out here. But it's pretty basic. There's nothing around here. We just have the ladder going up to the one up there. And I want to build something so that it looks a little bit better when we're going in between, because right now it takes a long time to go up the ladder. And I think that there's a faster way to do this. So let's lay out our supplies and get the building started. There we are. We've got this project all finished up, and I think that it turned out really well. I like having these kind of angled squares and then leading up to the center tower in the middle. And this is one that is really real. I'm not sure what's going on with that rabbit right there in the center. It seems to be stuck, but this project is all complete, we now have a way to easily get up and between those two portals instead of having to climb a ladder. So if we head over, and I'll show you what we've got. So we just have a water elevator here in the center. So one leads up and one leads down. If we go to here, we can head up to the room up above, and then we've got the portal here, and this will go up to the nether roof. It's a pretty simple room. I didn't really do much here because we just need it for the portal. And then if we head down, we can see the portal that goes to our nether hub and the bartering room. So we go down here, and then there's this portal right here. So that's everything. And now when we come through, we won't have to worry about ending up in the middle of nowhere or being surrounded by a bunch of mobs, which is never a good thing. So this project is going to be really useful to have. But I think we're all set here. Now it's time to get started with our next project. The next project that we're going to be working on is the main project for this episode, and that is to build a mob farm. And the reason that we need to do that is because we need a lot of gunpowder to be able to build a lot of rockets so that we can use our elytra without having to worry about running out. And I've been waiting to build the mob farm until we had shulker boxes so that I'd be able to easily move a lot of resources a long distance without having to make a bunch of trips. So now that we have the shulker boxes, we can get started with this project. I've been doing a little bit of exploring to find a nice area to where we can build this mob farm. And I think this is the spot because we have this flat area here where we've got this plains biome and then the water there. So there's not a lot of elevation change, which is good because then we won't have to flatten a lot of this area out. And it's going to work out pretty well. So if we fly out over here, we'll be able to kind of get a look at this space right here from above. And this is where I think that we want to do it. And I really like this terrain with this water out there where the ocean might be. And we've got this river over on this side. And then we've got the village area as well. And I think that what we're going to do is this is where we're going to start our project. And we're going to land on this tree here and take a look around. So we've got this space all around us that we're going to be able to work with. And ooh, I like how this mountain looks here. We've got this slope and it kind of juts out there. That's actually some pretty nice terrain. Let's take a look at that. Okay, I see. So it's got sort of this floating terrain here. That might be something that we can work on in the future to kind of bolster this area up and kind of expand it out and get that to connect up. But that's not for today. That's another project. But this is where we are going to be building our mob farm. So let's head back to our base and get some resources together, and then we can get started with the building of this project. I've got everything collected here. It's going to take a little bit more resources than our last project. And so we'll just put these all together. We've got bunches of, that was an empty one, but we've got a bunch of different blocks in here that we're going to be using to get this built. So let's go ahead and get the building started. There we are. We've got this project all finished up, and I am really happy with how it turned out because I didn't want to just leave a mob farm out in the middle of nowhere. I wanted to have a design that would be nice to look at when we came over to check out the farm or to use the farm. And so this is the design that I came up with. It had some challenges because obviously, since this is a mob farm, we need to have all of these spaces to not be spawnable. So there's a bunch of different types of blocks used, like slabs and carpets and walls and fences to be able to prevent mobs from spawning. So what we're going to do now is we're going to turn this farm on, and then I'm going to let it run for about 15 minutes to see what we're going to be able to get and to check out what the rates are. So I'm going to head up here, and then I'll bring you back in about 15 minutes and we'll see what we have. That is what we like to see. Look at all of those mobs going in there. That's a really encouraging sign. That shows that we have a farm that is actually working, which is good. So let's go in and check out what we have in our chest. Inside here, we have the chests that are going to be used to collect all of the drops from the mobs, and let's see what we have. I wonder why we've got these over here. So these arrows must have fallen out, but that's okay. So wow, look at all of these resources. This is actually pretty good for only 15 minutes. We've got a lot in here, and these torches were used to light up the platforms. They weren't from any of the mobs, but this is actually really good. I'm happy with this. Let's collect all of these up and see what we get in total. And I'll include a link in the description down below to the tutorial that I used to figure out how to build the mob farm part of this building, because it's very efficient and one that I would definitely recommend. It's a tutorial that was done by Shulkercraft. It's really easy to follow along and see how it's done. And I'll also include a link to a mob farm that can be used in Bedrock as well for those who play in Bedrock. But with this mob farm, as you can see, I mean, in just 15 minutes, we've got a ton of resources, and I'm really happy with how this turned out. We're going to be able to use this to get a lot of gunpowder to be able to do all of our future projects, so that's really exciting. But yeah, overall, this is pretty good. That's going to do it for today's episode. In our next episode, we are going to continue getting some projects done as we gear up for our next adventure, which is going to be coming soon. But until then, thank you so much for joining me. It's been great having you here. I look forward to seeing you next time. And until then, see you later.